Hi, it's Dean Vlamas, and welcome to Real Talk. Today, we're going to meet with Juany Honeycutt of Jameson Sotheby's and get her take on the market. We've been in interesting times. For lockdown with COVID for the past 2 years, interest rates have been at an all-time low. Real estate was flying off the shelves. Times have changed. There's uncertainty, inflation, concerns about the economy. People are pausing, which means they need more information, more input, more valuable expertise to make the proper decision. We're going to meet Juany at one of her listings to see how she's navigating this market and how she helps her clients. Let's go meet Juany.
Hi, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Very good to see you.
Hi, welcome to my pocket listing.
This is your listing. As I mentioned, this is Juany Honeycutt with Jameson Sotheby's, and she invited us to show us what she does and how she gets things ready for market.
Yes. Thank you.
You mentioned pocket listing, so this is not on the market yet.
Correct. We are prepping for market. So people think we just kind of come in, take pictures, and go live, but there's actually a lot of homework involved in getting a home ready to go to market. Also, in this instance, my clients are working with Lori Lehman with PS Lehman.
Okay.
Fantastic. She and her team are going to come in here. They will actually declutter for the sellers. We're actually going to move all this out and create another seating area.
Clean it up.
Yep, so we're going to restage.
Okay.
So combination of the seller's furniture with new staging furniture.
And that's important. I was realizing that this morning when I was leaving and I looked at my kids' bedrooms and I thought, goodness gracious, if I was listing this house today, 90% price cut just to get someone to walk in the door.
Easily. My daughter's the messiest. We cannot photograph her room.
So that's a lot you have to force them to do, but they declutter and helps them clean up the house anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Okay, so when you're dealing with that then, do you have any pushback as far as what they think they want would sell, or this is what you have to tell them where your experience comes in?
It is a lot of balancing their emotions because this is personal. They live here, and I'm asking them to remove personal items so that we can create that blank canvas.
So you bring that insight. As much as you may like that piece, that has to go.
Exactly.
So when you speak of emotions, first thing I thought of is back to my single days. So if you were selling my house for me and you saw that Miami Vice poster over the bar,
out. It's down.
Keith Richards poster
No
in the
posters
bedroom?
on the wall.
All right, so I'm that hard sell. That's education. Okay.
Yeah.
It's such a long time ago, I guess.
And part of that education is really if you invest the money and create this space so that we are Instagram worthy, we're going to see that on the sell. And we're going to get the return.
But the point is that's a lot of work up front
before
this. So that's a little what you do. A little about you though. So how you got into this business. So I'm in the mortgage business, but I know I didn't go to school to be a mortgage broker. What about you? Did you go to school to be in the real estate business?
No, I did not.
How did you get into this? How did you get into this then?
Kind of a funny story. I, had a passion and really thought I wanted to go into international corporate law.
Right.
And I started bartending and waitressing at the Cubby Bear instead.
Very popular spot.
Made a lot of money doing that. But mother knows best.
Right.
And my mother did come to me and she signed me up for a real estate course. And she said, I think you're going to be great at this. I think you're going to really like it. Took a 2-week crash course, got my license. And the next thing I knew, I was talking about real estate to, all of my patrons at the Cubby Bear and Joe's on Wheat Street.
So they became clients too?
They did. To this day, some of my bar regulars are still my best clients.
Transitioning into that, you stayed who you were. It's not the sales 101 that now here's how to sell in type of face. You were who you were and it came naturally to you.
It's, the service industry and what we do and what I do as an agent is I provide a service. Again, I was early 20s when I started, so education was so important. I signed up for every class, every designation. I really wanted to be taken seriously.
And it seemed to have worked. You're doing really, really well. So that's when I always looked at this, especially in our industry, regardless of where you're at, I always say it matters who you work with.
Absolutely.
Very, very important. So you instill that confidence. Can we sit down just for a second? I remember prior to coming in here, we were talking and I took some notes.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go over something. When I walked in, when we were getting set up, you were on the computer.
Yes.
And you had a past client email you and you were doing a CMA.
It was doing a market analysis for a new listing that's coming up. And, there's a lot of hype out there. There's a lot of negative media that says you can just put your house on the market and you're going to get $300,000. But that's not always the case. So I do have to prep those sellers and tell them where their market is, how much it actually has grown in a year, because we're very micro-marketed.
Right.
So
when you say that, what's micro-marketed in that?
It just means that what's happening in Lincoln Park is very different than what's happening in River North.
And they may not know that, but because those neighborhoods are right next to each other.
Exactly.
Walking, 2 minutes away, but vastly different neighborhoods as far as the marketing and property values, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we've got to be able to cut out the noise of the media and really tell our sellers not just where the market was, where the market is today, but also where do we see it going? Because again, you deal with the rate question all the time.
All the time, right.
So do we.
But as you mentioned, the noise of the media, it's the internet. Everyone becomes an expert. We're in a completely different market now. The rates have gone up in the past 6 months. In the past 2 years, it's been a good market for everyone. But that's where the reality comes in. That's where your education and your experience comes in. When to sell, what's going on in the market. Remember, during COVID, everyone was leaving Chicago, but that's really not the case anymore.
Really not the case. I like to call this year the comeback to the city.
Right.
And really what we found is that kind of started early November, December. But people are buying in the city. We are seeing the bidding wars in the city just like in the suburbs. Again, it depends on the market.
Right.
It depends on the location and, that particular property. But it is the comeback to the city.
So you do all this, and you have kids, you're married, so you balance everything too then, right?
Yes, it's a very demanding career.
Well, it's 24/7, it's weekends, it's showings. I mean, at least I can hide behind my phone because I don't need to be in person, but you have to be in person.
No, we've got to capture something the day that it comes on the market so that my buyers don't lose out and vice versa. So we really need leverage, both at home and at work. So I have a very supportive husband and family that helps with the kids and gets them to their, T-ball games. But I also have that support in work.
This is what I think is really important, is you were talking about that. This is what the notes I took, micromanaging, come back to the city, and when that would happen. That's information you're not getting anywhere on the internet. Internet, you're getting a blanket static statistic. And that's the value that you bring to the table. That's the value that when people think they can list the property online, well, you may put a little money into it, fix it all up, but that time on the market's a lot less.
Exactly.
The information when to list, what to look for, that takes minutes to explain and can't be in a soundbite. So it's one of those things I'd imagine most of your business is referral because...
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
I'm lucky enough to, about 95% of my business is all referral based.
Right, and it's great doing that because it's trust, but don't you wish you can get that message that we're trying to get in the short 10 minutes out there in a little soundbite because it's invaluable. That you're not going to get anywhere else. So, and
it's very hard for a seller and a buyer what they're hearing in the news that's not instant. It's not current.
That's a soundbite that needs an immediate reaction where there's a reality that you tell everyone. So this is the first in the series that we're doing. Yep. Very grateful you allowed me to do this.
I think it's
invaluable. You're making me look good. So thank you so much. So Juany, Honeycutt, Jameson, Sotheby's International Realty. Thanks for having us in your listing today. As I've mentioned before, in this industry, in all aspects of it, it matters who you work with. Thanks for being with us on our first Real Talk with Dean.